to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Monday, March the 24th. I am your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo today as we got a lot to talk about in the world of the Miami Dolphins as all the free agents met with the media today. And they had a lot to say about why they signed with Miami, what roles they were told they may not play. And also we had news on Kendall Lamb. I released my mock draft 1.0 over the weekend. We're going to go through that. And Albert Breer and Connor Orr, two NFL insiders for Sports Illustrated, on a podcast on Monday, spoke for 11 minutes on the Dolphins, and it's very interesting to say the least. Let's just say their outlook on the Dolphins this upcoming season, pretty bleak, and they're talking about a hard reset in Miami in 2026. We'll talk about all that on today's show. Excuse me. But before we get to any of that, as always, a shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Caneswear. Everyone loves Caneswear. Go to the website, caneswear.com. They have the best Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a hoodie, a shirt, a t-shirt, a polo, a jacket, something for your car, something for your home, a hat, a jersey, Caneswear.com has you covered when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. They have the best Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet at a very affordable price as well. And yes, they ship internationally as well. So if you're one of our listeners from overseas in London or Germany or wherever, they will ship it to your country. No issues there. And also at Caneswear.com, if you're a fan of the Miami Heat, the Florida Panthers, the Miami Marlins, of course, the Miami Hurricanes, who had their pro day today. And I'm actually wearing a Miami Hurricanes little long sleeve hoodie here today on the show for those watching on YouTube, right there with the U logo. Caneswear.com is the place to go. So everyone go to the website, Caneswear.com, for the best Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. Also, Dolphins Talk Extra, patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, $3 a month. You get bonus podcast. Josh is doing a podcast each week in the lead up to the draft with draft experts and draft gurus like David Bierman at Pro Football Network. Those are exclusive only to members of Dolphins Talk Extra. We have non-Miami Dolphins centric podcasts about pro wrestling. WrestleMania is coming up, about Major League Baseball, about the NBA and stuff like that. And we also have a private message board. And we have a ton of contests where we give away cool prizes. So for $3 a month, trust me, if you're a Dolphins fan, it's well worth it. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. All right, let's start with the news of Kendall Lamb. He did not retire. Now, when he re-signed with Miami last offseason, he said flat out, this is my last year. And he missed some time last year with Miami with some injuries. But when he played well as that first offensive tackle off the bench. Not retiring. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles today on Monday. And I know some fans of the Dolphins like, well, why did Miami re-sign him? He was, a solid player. No. Lamb is another guy who I've sort of pointed out on this show the past few months, who is the poster boy of everything wrong in Miami. Good player when he's healthy. We got to get away from that. And I know Chris Breer signed a few guys like that here the past few weeks in March, and free agency is what it is. But we got to get rid of these older guys who are breaking down where injuries are an issue. I don't care how good they are when they play. They cannot be counted on. Yes, when Chris Breer says everyone gets hurt in the NFL, the injury rate is 100%. Well, kind of, sort of, but some guys get hurt more. And when they get older, they really get hurt more. And Kendall Lamb is not, the Philadelphia Eagles just won a Super Bowl. They're going to be a contender to win a Super Bowl in 2025. They want a veteran like Lamb, and they can put up with the injuries because they're a team that's won and might win again in 2025. A team like Miami, let's just be honest. We're a little bit of a hot mess right now. I think they are rebuilding. We're really not that close. They don't need Kendall Lamb. They need to look younger. They need to find guys for the future and guys who are more durable. And I know Miami, they signed offensive tackle Larry Borum from the Bears just a few weeks ago. And after not re-signing Lamb, it is pretty clear Larry Borum is the backup swing tackle. I know there were some loud voices on social media. He's going to compete in that. He's going to compete and start at offensive guard. No. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it nicely. Just no. He's the backup swing tackle. He's taking the spot of Kendall Lamb. I know if you watch the film of his time in Chicago, not very good. But unless you're going to spend $6, $7, $8, $10 million for a backup swing tackle, most teams have a guy the level of Larry Borum as your backup swing tackle. And who knows what they'll do in the draft. They might take an offensive tackle there. Then you end up with Austin Jackson, Paul, and whoever they take can technically be more of that first swing tackle. So I'm not going to get too nervous over it on March 24th. But Kendall Lamb is gone. I do not have a problem with it either. I don't. It's fine. Mock draft 1.0. Each year I put out, about 1 month out from the draft, after the combine, and when the pro days have started, which they have. Today was a pro day for the University of Miami. And I know Michigan had theirs last Friday, and all these teams are having their pro days now. And, we're pretty much in full draft mode here at this website. Tuesday night, I'll be live with Dante Collinelli of the 33rd team. And, of course, from right here at DolphinsTalk.com. Each year, we do about 4 or 5 shows lead up to the draft. We break down position by position, guys who are realistic for Miami. We know the Dolphins aren't getting Cam Ward, so I'm not wasting time talking about Cam Ward. We do shows that are geared to the positions of emphasis for the Dolphins. We're going to talk. We know Miami needs offensive line. We know Miami needs cornerback. We know Miami needs defensive line, safety. We're going to spend a lot of time there. Probably going to spend less time talking about the wide receivers because it'd be a big surprise if they took a wide receiver in rounds 1, 2, or 3. But we'll talk about guys at wide receiver who might be there around 5, 6, or 7, where Miami at that point could take a flyer on one. Absolutely. But we're not going to waste time talking about that because shows like podcasts that cover the Miami Dolphins like this one, who waste their time talking about all the top guys at positions that aren't needs for the Dolphins, it's a waste of time. We don't do that. With that said, I released my mock draft. All 10 picks that Miami currently holds. I don't do trades because that's just dumb. I can't predict a trade. So I do it as the draft sits today. And, I kind of got a knack for this. I'm not saying I'm great, but in years past, I've got some picks spot on. I think the latest one was 2 years ago when I had Miami taking Achane in round 3. They took Achane in round 3 exactly at that spot. I know in past years as well, including last year, I had the position in the round right. I might not have the exact player. So if I had Miami taking for example, offensive lineman in round 4, and they take an offensive line, even if it's not the same guy, same thought process. So I kind of got a knack for this stuff. Take it for what it's worth. It's just a mock draft. And it's my 1.0. I'm going to do probably 3 more of these before the actual draft. And what makes this year's more challenging is not that they have 10 picks. It's that, which is a lot, they have so many pressing needs at multiple positions. And I learned heading through this process of the first mock draft, it is going to be impossible for Miami to fill all these needs in the draft because they need help at cornerback, offensive line, safety, defensive line. You could go tight end, but that's not a big need. They just have so many needs that they're going to come out of this draft with one position is going to be ignored. Now, I don't know what that one is. Now, for my mock that I did, this 1.0 I did on Sunday, it was defensive line. And I can tell already from what I'm hearing from a few of these pro days, that will change probably in the next mock I do 2.0, because I think some of the guys I have heading to Miami are going to shoot up the draft boards and probably won't be there at least at pick 13 and pick 48, which might push a defensive lineman to Miami in round 1 or 2, which would change how the mock looked. But let me go over how I have it today. Again, first mock draft, take it for what it is. Round 1, pick 13, I got cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan going to the Dolphins. I said this last week on a few shows. If he's on the board of pick 13, there's no thought here. You take Will Johnson. This guy is so scary good. He is the best cornerback in this draft. He is someone you can, sort of pencil in as a starting corner for your team for the next 7 to 10 years. He's that good. He's fluid. He makes everything look easy. The only drawbacks he's had is, 2 years ago, he played in 14 games. This past 2022, 2023 played in 12, which is great, which is easy for me to say, which is a full season. And this past year, it was just 6 because he had a turf toe in October that really bothered him. And then he had to miss his pro day because of a hamstring issue. So he has a private workout set up for April 14th for scouts. Should be 100% healthy. And again, he's not injury prone. As I said, full season 2022, full season 2023, turf toe. It's not like he's coming off an Achilles or an ACL. These are minor run-of-the-mill type of injuries that shouldn't scare anyone. That should not scare anyone off. And if he runs a 4.4 or even a 4.5 at that private workout on April 14th, that's going to be so good. He probably won't be there at pick 13. So it's kind of like you want him to run fast, but if he runs too fast, it means he won't fall to Miami. But I think as of today, because of the uncertainty with the turf toe, and now it's more the hamstring, he's fine with the turf toe. I got him falling to pick 13. And again, if he runs great, when I do this next time, he probably won't be there. But it just makes sense. You put Will Johnson opposite Jalen Ramsey, Kader Kohu in the slot. You still have to address safety. I know that is 3 very good corners. And coming off the bench, you got Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, and Cam Smith. That's not a bad cornerback room. And then after this year, if you move on from Ramsey, which they probably will, you at least have Will Johnson as a number 1 corner, and you do not have to worry about that. So I think if he's there 13, you take him. Pick 48, round 2. And this is, again, a guy who's kind of going up some draft charts. So if he's not there in my next mock, I wouldn't be shocked. But right now he is, because he's a guard at the end of the day, is guard out of Ohio State, Donovan Jackson. He can play a little bit of offensive tackle because this past year when Ohio State lost their left tackle, he moved from left guard to left tackle, and they did fine, and they still won a national championship with him at left tackle. But he's a guard, and that's why I have him falling to pick number 48, because at the end of the day, I don't care. You can read mock drafts from Mel Kiper, this one, that one, Jeremiah, Mike Mayock. I don't care. Guards fall because they're guards. And even if they're a great guard, they still fall some. This guy's a great guard. He is a wet dream for Mike McDaniel when it comes to guards. In that, he got light on his feet, nimble, can move, can pull. One of those guys that Mike McDaniel will fall in love with. And with this guy here, if you pick him, put him at left guard, God forbid Patrick Paul fails at left tackle, you can try him at left tackle. I don't know if he'll work at left tackle in the NFL, but he played a pretty good left tackle at Ohio State. That's Ohio State, and they won a national title, and he played left tackle in every playoff game. They played good teams in the playoffs. So you can at least try that before you can say, so if Patrick Paul fails, which we hope he doesn't, you can try him there. So that's why this is a perfect pick. This is a perfect pick in round 2. Plug and play left guard as a rookie. Probably really, really good at left guard. And God forbid something happens to Paul, you can try him there before you come up with a plan B. So I have him going there. Round 3, pick 98. I got Miami taking a safety, Marquise Siegel out of Kansas State. I'm sure many people haven't heard of him. Just think Brandon Jones 2.0. Chris Breer took Brandon Jones at the top of round 3 in 2020. He gets a replacement for Brandon Jones at the end of round 3 in 2025, because I think this guy, he is fast. He ran a 4.3, and he is very aggressive, kind of like Brandon Jones. He can play in the box. He's a strong safety. And if he can come in, I don't know if he's going to start as a rookie, but if he can play significant snaps as a rookie, as a strong safety, and you got Melifalu, who they just signed from Lions, as a free safety, you might have something here. So I think they need to get another safety. And I don't have him taking one in rounds 1 or 2. Again, future mocks, maybe that changes. I know Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame I like a lot. Starks, the kid from South Carolina, not that they're bad. I just don't want to take them in round 1. That's why I don't have Miami taking them in round 1. But yes, so Siegel, the safety of Kansas State. Round 4, this is where it gets interesting here. We got 2 picks in round 4. And the first one's 116, second one's 135. At 116, how this mock fell for me, I'm doubling down on the offensive line. Enough's enough. We got to fix this once and for all. And I got Miami taking offensive tackle out of LSU, Emory Jones. Now, this guy is a pure right tackle. And why am I taking a pure right tackle? Number one, it's great value here in round 4. And number 2, I don't trust Austin Jackson one bit. The only person on the Miami Dolphins roster injured more than Tua Tagovailoa is Austin Jackson. This guy never plays. The only year he gave you a full season was when he was playing for a contract. And I just don't trust him. And I think we need a backup plan, because if this is another year where Austin Jackson only gives you 2 for 8 games, this will be his last year in Miami. And I want his replacement already on the roster. Emory Jones, LSU, played against a high level caliber of opponent there. He's a right tackle, though. He's not someone you can try. Let's try it left tackle. Don't waste your time trying. He can't play it. He's built like a right tackle, light on his feet. And I think with him and Donovan Jackson, you got 2 young offensive linemen here of the future. Hopefully Patrick Paul can join that mix. We don't know. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, let's fix this offensive line once and for all. With the next pick in round 4, 135, that's where I finally address the defensive line. I take Ty Hamilton, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Not a guy who's going to start. This is a guy who's more of a pass rushing defensive tackle. He's a little bit undersized, but he can get to the quarterback a little bit, and someone who you can put in a rotation on passing downs, and you want on the field and passing downs. And I have Ty Hamilton with the second pick in round 4. Then we got 2 picks in round 5, 150, 155. They're close together. And really, once you get to this point, even in round 4, you're taking best player available. Round 5, pick 150, LaQuint Allen, running back, Syracuse. You're going, why running back? Here's why running back. Achan's good. Great, if not. Jalen Wright, we don't really know. He didn't really play much. Alexander Madison, we know who he is. He's a short yardage guy. And if he was cut in training camp, I would not be shocked. But if he's cut in training camp, you better have a guy who can fill that role, and that's LaQuint Allen. LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse, if you watch any Syracuse games in the time he spent there, is not going to win a foot race with anyone. He is not going to run a 4.3. He's not going to run a 4.4. He probably won't even run a 4.5. What LaQuint Allen will do, though, is if it's 3rd and 1, if it's a 4th and 1, he will run through a brick wall to get that yard. And he will run through that brick wall, and get that yard almost every time. And this guy plays with no fear. He wants to hit a linebacker before the linebacker hits him. He's one of those types of guys. He runs angry. He plays angry. And on top of that, he's got soft hands. So if you want to throw him the football, he will catch it with the best of them. This guy is an underrated running back. And at pick 150 in round 5, give me him to fill the Alexander Madison role, because I don't even want him on the team, Madison. He might just be here for 1 year. As I said, if we take someone here in round 5, you can cut Alexander Madison and not even have to worry about it, because I think someone like LaQuint Allen is what you need. He's not, he's not this big. He's not built like Chris Brooks, but he runs so stinking angry. He just runs like someone just he is, and that's what you need. You want attitude. You want toughness. You don't want to be called soft. Give me LaQuint Allen at running back in those short yardage situations. Second pick in round 5, and I'll start to go through these a little quicker as we get later here in the picks. Thomas Fedone, the second tight end, Nebraska, pass-catching tight end, probably a practice squad guy this year. Maybe because you're taking him in round 5, you have to put him on the roster. But he's a guy who it will take a year. He won't give you much here as in year 1 as a rookie, but he's got total athlete, someone you want to learn under Jonnu Smith, as he can be like a future Jonnu Smith in the passing game. But, and he can block some. Not a great blocker, but he blocks enough. But really just an athlete who can make receptions down the field, but it'll take a year. So, again, now we're late round 5 here, pick 155. That's where you're taking. No picks round 6, round 7. I got him taking Cameron Jackson, the defensive tackle out of Florida. And as I said in my article, it's 6'6", 328. This is one big sumbitch. And this is one big sumbitch who is a true nose tackle, which Miami needs. Now, you're getting him in round 7, which means something's wrong. And what's wrong is he gives you no pass rushing ability. His play was very and consistent. And for a guy his size, you think 6'6", 328, he shouldn't get pushed around. He gets pushed around. So you are drafting traits in round 7 and hoping you can coach him up. That's what I'm doing here with Cam Jackson. Second pick around 7 is Ja Joyner, edge rusher out of Minnesota, pick 231. Pass rush specialist, cannot play the run at all. Shouldn't be on the field versus the run. If he's on the field, teams will run at him for 8-9 yards a carry. But he's a guy who hopefully you can coach up some, and he can be on the field and passing downs in time, not as a rookie, and who can get after the quarterback. And with the last pick, pick 253, round 7, I have him taking cornerback out of Central Florida, Mac McWilliams. Small arms, short arms, small hands, plays with no fear, doesn't turn his head on the long ball. Again, it's a 7th round corner. You're going to have to coach him up, but he plays with no fear. He's aggressive. He's tougher than a government mule, as they say, and someone who, with one of the last picks of the draft, you have no problem taking. So that's my mock draft 1.0. We'll see how that plays out. Quick shout out to everyone watching and listening at finheaven.com. If you are on the internet, you want to be a part of finheaven.com. If you're watching right now on YouTube, smash that like button, smash it, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Also, put up a comment. Tell me what you think about my mock draft. Tell me if you agree. If you don't agree, who you want to see them take. I don't have them taking a quarterback. Tell me why that might be a mistake. But if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. If you're listening in audio form, whether Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Podbean, Podchaser, or one of the other 100 platforms you're on, subscribe. We're going to have shows taking you right up to the draft almost every day. I'll say almost. And also, if you are watching and listening on the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page, run by the great, talented Carlos Hernandez, thank you. And make sure if you're on Facebook, you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page. Just go there, hit like, hit follow. Great group of people. Okay. 2 more things here before we're done. Free agents that the Miami Dolphins signed met with the media today on Monday. Wasn't too much earth-shattering news here, but I'll share some highlights. Willie Gay, linebacker, when asked on why he chose Miami, he said that Miami chose him, which if you read between the lines, made it seem like no other teams are kind of knocking down his door or throwing him offers, but Willie Gay said Miami chose him. Linebacker KJ Britt, when he was asked if he was told if he would compete for a starting job or not, he said that the Miami Dolphins never mentioned that to him. So we'll see what they do at linebacker. I still think, here's the deal. KJ Britt is a guy who you want as a run thumper. Elandon Roberts 2.0. Willie Gay is a little bit of a jack of all trades. He even said he can play middle linebacker, outside linebacker. He was asked about that today. He's got a little speed to him. I know a lot of fans think Tyler Dotson is just going to start next to Jordan Brooks. I'm not so sure. We'll see. I just think it's going to be an open competition in camp. And Jordan Brooks will start in one outside linebacker spot, and we'll see what they do with the other linebacker spot and who starts there. Fedi Malafanu, the safety who they signed away from the Lions as a free agent, 1 year, $4 million deal, who's missed a lot of time, has been on IR like 5 times the past 2 seasons, only played like a handful of games last year. He was asked about his injuries. Malafanu said, I think early on I didn't do as much as I should have been, like just being young. But there's definitely sometimes it's luck, to be honest. Some stuff I had, like a tackle and I got rolled up on with my ankle facing up. Sometimes it's just pure luck. But there's definitely stuff I've approached this offseason with my trainer and nutrition-wise, and some stuff like that to help prevent injuries moving forward. So he's trying to stay healthy, which that's all you can ask. And it is, some of it is luck, but some guys just have a lot of bad luck. And he's like one of those guys. But some of it is too, you have to take care of your body at that level to be prepared for the wear and tear of a 17-game NFL season. He was asked on if it was important for him to be a starter, and he said, I mean, it's very important. I feel like the 4 years I've proved what I can do, and people have seen my coach, meaning Coach Brian, who was a coach with the Lions, and now he's a coach in Miami. I forget his last name, Brian Duker. He's not with Miami, but he was with the Lions. When he was there, when I was at the Lions, he's seen it firsthand. So it's very important to me. I know I'm still going to have to go out and compete and earn a starting spot. I've never really had anything handed to me, even since my Syracuse days. So I'm excited for that opportunity. But I feel like as a starter, there's things that I can bring to this defense and have an impact on the defense. So I'd like to hear that. Zach Wilson, everyone's waiting to hear about Zach. On what interested him about signing with Miami. What's not to like, right? Extremely explosive offense, and I think they do a great job, and it starts from Coach Mike McDaniel, and it goes all the way down. I just say the offensive staff as a whole has done a great job. You've seen how Tua has developed and how that's gone too since he's been there. And I think I'm just excited to be with those guys. So Zach Wilson's saying the right things. When he was asked about what he learned with the Broncos, yeah, a ton. Just processing in the NFL, pocket awareness, the ability to kind of progress more smoothly through my progressions and get the ball out of my hands. And just maybe my understanding of the game, I feel like, has increasingly gotten better since my first year in the league. And he was asked, which I thought was a weird question, if he embraces the journeyman label, because I don't view Zach Wilson as a journeyman. He played with the Jets. He went to the Broncos, didn't play. I mean, yeah, he's on his third team. That doesn't mean he's a journeyman person. He was a second overall pick of the draft not that long ago. Anyways, I digress. His answer, yeah, I mean, I would like to view it differently. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being a journeyman, but I still believe I can be a starter in this league whenever that opportunity comes. And so I'm just trying to put myself in the best situation with the best team and coaches and do the absolute best I can, and hopefully at some point you can get that opportunity to show what you can do. So, as once again, nothing earth-shattering said here. Zach Wilson said everything you wanted him to say. He said all the right things. Melifanu, who they really need to be a starter at safety, said the right things, how he is working on his body with his trainer and his nutritionist to try and stay healthy and avoid some of these injuries. And the linebackers, well, we'll figure out what's going to go on at linebacker when we get closer to camp. Okay, last topic. And I have the video of this up on our website at DolphinsTalk.com. And I think it's just 11 minutes, but I think everyone should watch it. I will explain right now what was said, but this is one of those times. And I know if you're listening to a podcast like this, you are a fan of the Miami Dolphins. We all are. And it's never fun to hear, people talk about your team in a not great light. And it's not even that was the case, but NFL insiders, Albert Breer and Connor Orr for Sports Illustrated, they've been covering this league for a while. And they did a segment on their podcast about the Miami Dolphins. And, they kind of have a bleak outlook for this upcoming season. And they're not necessarily wrong. At least on paper, this upcoming season, I don't know how you look at this loaded AFC and how you can have a lot of optimism that Miami's going to win the AFC East or maybe make a run to a Super Bowl. I mean, anything's possible, but it's the same team that they've had. And what these guys say is you look at the core of the Miami Dolphins, it's old, it's injured, and it's unproven. And it's like when you see a team with that type of core, you're looking at a team that usually it's not going to probably end well. And once again, go to the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Watch the video yourself. I'm just going to explain it in my words, but it was a good, honest, and smart conversation about the Dolphins. And I know, look, if you're a Homer fan, you probably don't want to hear this conversation, but it's really a good, smart, and honest conversation. And these guys talk about the Dolphins. They have no dog in the fight. They don't care if the Dolphins are bad or good. They're just giving you an objective viewpoint about how they see things in South Florida. They first say that they feel that the Miami Dolphins missed their window. And really 2023, even 2022 a little, but 2023, they missed their window, and that the core of the team is old and injured, which it is. You look at the core of this team. Armstead, we don't even know if he's coming back. If he does, he's old and injured. Chubb is old and injured. Ramsey's old. Hill is now old. And he's also hurt now too with the wrist. And Jalen Phillips, not old, but he's injured. Like the core of this team is old or injured or both. So that's like a fact, not hating, just stating. And Albert said that teams with a core that's old and injured usually don't have a good season. True. And that he feels this year, 2025, is the last hurrah for this core. And if it doesn't work out, if they don't get the job done in 2025, that a hard reset is coming for the Dolphins in 2026. pretty much saying if they have a bad year, what's bad? 5, 6, 7, even 8 wins and you miss the playoffs, that's a bad year for what they have paid and invested in some of these players. They're going to blow it up essentially. Connor Orr said that what really upsets him about the Dolphins is that their offensive line lacks physicality, and there's still a lot of question marks with the offensive line. Albert Breer said they have a huge question mark at left tackle, and that Armstead probably isn't. He probably won't return, and if he does, he is still injury prone. And Patrick Paul is a complete unknown. That's the one thing that's sort of blown my mind here the past few weeks. Hearing from Mel Kiper, now hearing from Albert Breer and some others who are doing mock drafts. Nobody has faith in Patrick Paul at left tackle. And I know if you look at PFF numbers, I really don't, but I know a lot of people think it's like the Bible. His PFF numbers sucked last year for the times he played. Like, it was really bad. But if you watch the games, I don't think he was that bad. Again, I don't know if he's any good though either, but it is a complete unknown. But nobody has faith in Patrick Paul to the point where a lot of these mock drafts, again, it's a mock draft ticket. They got Miami taken Kelvin Banks in round 1, Will Campbell. Like, they need a left tackle. It's like they act like Patrick Paul wasn't even selected last year. Like, he's not even on planet Earth. So nobody has faith in Patrick Paul, including Albert Breer. And then he said, too, he went on to say, even if you like the rest of Miami's offensive line, if you're weak at left tackle in this league, you're screwed. Not in those words. He said it much nicer, but that's essentially what he said. And he's right. And I know there's some fans right now go, but Tua's a lefty. The right tackle's his blind side. It don't matter, because when you're playing teams, they don't care if the quarterback's a righty or lefty. The left tackle is the left tackle, period. And if you're weak there, you could have 4 guys next to him that are great. It's tough to compensate for a bad left tackle. Albert Breer is right. He just is. Connor Orr then said, and he's not wrong either, why didn't Miami just go out this year and sign like 8 or 9, offensive linemen like last year Joe Douglas did? And he goes, then just let all these guys all compete. Now, 8 or 9 might be an exaggeration, but bring in, like, you got 3 or 4 in-house that you like. Go out there and sign 5 more. You got 8 or 9 guys that you think are halfway decent. Let them compete in the 5 best play. Now, not saying you got to sign high price guys, but at least between free agency and the draft, bring in a bunch, and let's just see how this plays out. In Miami, they signed James Daniels coming off an Achilles. Hopefully he's healthy, but who the hell knows? Liam Eichenberg's back. We know that's a disaster. And they signed Larry Borum, a bad offensive tackle. You can hope. Fill in, God forbid someone gets hurt. It's like they didn't bring in a bunch of guys. Now, look, they still have the draft, but still, those are rookies, so we don't know. And he's not wrong. And Albert then said he agreed that Miami should have just brought in a bunch of offensive line like the Jets did last year. Because say what you want about the Jets, they found their left tackle for the next 10 years doing it that way. And that's a big deal. They then go and talk further about Miami and their core being old and injured. They said Ramsey is good, but he's now going on 10 years in the league. He's going to start to decline. Father time, it will catch everyone. Tyreek, he's coming off his worst year ever. And if he loses a step or he gets hurt, what do you got in Miami? You got Waddle and Westbrook, Kenny, and they're not going to put fear into any teams. Not wrong there. And he also said if Tyreek loses a step or gets hurt, they said it, and they know this Miami Dolphins fan base, especially on social media, that Tua isn't good enough to elevate the play of the offensive players around him. And Connor Orr said, I know I'm going to get yelled at for this, and he will by a certain segment of fans, that Tua is just not good enough to elevate the play of the offensive players around him. And he went on to say, Tua's never done it in the past. How can I depend on him to do it now? We've never seen it from him. So there's that. Then they went on, and this is really I thought the crust of their whole show. If this season goes bad for Miami, like they feel it probably will, and like some other people they talk to feel it will, with this old and injury-prone core, after this year when they go through a hard reset, which probably will happen, will Miami get rid of Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, or do they just get rid of Greer, who they never call him by name, they just call the GM, and let Mike McDaniel handpick the new GM? Now, for me, I show everyone the door, and I bring in a whole new team. New GM, new head coach, new everybody, new scouts. I want new everything. But they both agreed that Mike McDaniel should stay and he should handpick the next general manager, which is what we've always do in Miami. And it's always a mistake. You always get rid of one, not get rid of both at the same time. But whatever. This is their opinion, not mine. And they feel Mike McDaniel should have more say in picking the roster, picking the players on the roster, and especially picking the next quarterback to replace Tua, with the assumption, of course, that Tua is gone after this season if the season goes bad, which is a safe bet, safe assumption. So they think very highly of Mike. They think, look, he's a young guy. He's a young coach. He should get more time, which I don't agree with, but okay. And they feel if he has more say with the GM, more say of who's on the team, that he can find guys and get the most out of them, maybe, and, get things going the right way in Miami. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Again, be open-minded. They aren't necessarily wrong. They aren't necessarily right either. We don't know. They haven't played a game yet in 2025. But don't be a blind-ass homer and just yell at them on social media because they said bad things about my favorite team. Think about what they said. It's not necessarily wrong. The core is old. It's injured. It's not what it needs to be. Our core should be Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and guys like that we just, draft, like Andrew Van Ginkel that we drafted, we developed, and we just let walk away for some reason, or we send them away. That should be the core of this team. That should be a contender in the AFC year in and year out, and should be up there with the Bills year in and year out, but we don't retain anybody for some reason. And we just chase these old guys who are injured. So what they're saying, not wrong, but yeah, it was just an interesting 11-minute talk. Watch it, listen to it up at DolphinsTalk.com. Everyone, thank you for listening to today's show. Again, if you're on YouTube, smash that like button, put up a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Miami Dolphins content, patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. It's $3 a month. You spend more on coffee than that. And trust me, we will give you more enjoyment with extra podcasts, a private message board. We do interactive podcasts. We did a happy hour show last Friday with Josh and myself, and you, the listeners, or the ones who pay, can just come on the show. Tell us if you think what we say is right, what we think is wrong. Share your thoughts and opinions. You can be on a live podcast, but it's only a Patreon. So patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. And social media at Dolphins Talk, and just go to the website, DolphinsTalk.com. Everyone, have a great Monday night. We'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity. Hey guys, Mike here from DolphinsTalk.com. Just want to thank you for watching this video today. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this video. And also just thank you in general. I know you have a lot of other podcast options out there these days, whether it's with the Miami Dolphins or about the Miami Dolphins, and with non-Miami Dolphins podcast stuff like true crime, politics, NBA, Major League Baseball. We do appreciate the support you guys provide us, and we do thank you for watching our content. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know. So thank you so much. Just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, don't forget to sign up for our Patreon service. Go to patreon.com/DolphinsTalk, and for just $3 a month, you will get more Miami Dolphins coverage and shows. Patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Thank you again, and everyone have a great day.